I was born timid. After entering the palace, I dared not speak loudly, nor did I dare to vie for favor. The emperor never looked at me directly, and the empress would often vent her anger on me. Even the consorts of equal rank would frequently step on me. Everyone treats me like a pushover, and I truly am. That is, until I stumbled upon the queen's secret affair with a guard. In a panic, I pulled out a dagger, stabbed the queen twice, and then the guard twice, seeing the fresh blood gushing from them. I fainted on the spot. The empress and a palace guard lay disheveled in a pool of blood, and there I was, lying between them, clutching a dagger tightly in my hand. I was awakened by a bucket of cold water. Opening my eyes, I saw Emperor Songyang seated on the high throne, surrounded by a crowd of people, concubines and high-ranking officials of the court, their eyes all fixed on me, and I had never been so closely watched before. Ignoring the chill and dampness all over my body, I steadied my trembling legs and knelt down properly. After all, the empress was the mother of the nation. Her sudden death was a matter of national importance. I bit my lower lip, hating myself for being such a coward that I had fainted at the sight of blood. Song Yang looked at me coldly. Explain. Why did you want to kill the empress? I trembled all over, my words slurring. Your Majesty, I didn't kill anyone. Song Yang looked as if he was disappointed that I couldn't live up to his expectations. His teeth clenched. If you didn't kill the empress, then why were you lying between them? I trembled and cried, Your Majesty, I don't know. I only remember seeing the empress and the guard lying in a pool of blood. I fainted from the sight of blood, and then I don't remember anything else. Song Yang was so angry that he slammed the table. You, straighten your tongue, you coward. With a slam of the table, I was even more terrified, my whole body trembling, unable to speak, only able to let out, My father, minister of the court Wendu, could no longer stand by. Your Majesty, please calm your anger. Concubine Wen has always been afraid of blood since she was a child. She would not have the courage to harm the empress. Please, Your Majesty, see clearly. Indeed, Your Majesty. Concubine Wen has been in the palace for a year and is well known for her timid nature. Perhaps someone else killed the empress and framed Concubine Wen. If Concubine Wen were the murderer, she wouldn't be foolish enough to remain at the scene of the crime. The one speaking up for me was Consort Han Dublin, which I did not expect. After all, she was also part of the bullying in the past. I nodded gratefully at her. Song Yang calmed down, his eyes cold. Consort Wen. Although you don't seem like the murderer, you cannot escape suspicion. Until the matter is clarified, you are confined to the Chiyu Palace. Returning to my chambers, I closed the doors and windows, opened the wardrobe, and wiped the 3 spirit tablets with a handkerchief. I lit 3 sticks of incense and bowed to them. Wang Yunran is dead. In the middle of the night, I heard the rustling sound and faintly saw a figure. I was startled and quickly wrapped the blanket tighter around me. The shadow grew closer, and I let out a frightened cry. The shadow suddenly spoke. Your Highness, it's me, your servant. By the moonlight streaming through the window, I could vaguely make out the person approaching. Huang He was an outer court eunuch serving the empress. I let out a sigh of relief and asked him, what a bold move. Daring to barge into my chambers in the middle of the night. Huang He was not intimidated by me and instead began to laugh. Of course, I had to come at night. Because now, Your Highness, you are also someone who cannot be seen in the light. What do you mean, Consort Wen? What you did in the side room of Hanzhong Palace this afternoon? This servant saw it all clearly. My heart skipped a beat. I had calculated 1,000 times. Yet I never expected someone to witness the entire process of my crime. I had originally thought that with something as scandalous as the Empress's affair, she would surely have cleared everyone away before feeling at ease. Do you have any evidence? Accusing a concubine is punishable by death. Instead of being nervous, Huang He sat down on the edge of my bed, rubbing his hands together. When you killed someone, You didn't forget to pull the golden hairpin from the Empress's hair, and then, you fainted. If I were to inform the Emperor, do you think he would find it? I imagine your Highness hasn't had time to melt down that golden hairpin yet. Have you? Cold sweat dripped from my forehead as my mind raced. This was bad. I was about to be manipulated by this eunuch. However, since he hadn't chosen to report me to Song Yang, he must have had another motive. What do you want? Just say it. Huang He stared at me intently. I've long been captivated by the beauty of your Highness. If you can serve me well, I swear I'll take this secret to my grave. When he finished speaking and saw that I remained unresponsive, he began to climb onto the bed. I didn't resist but instead felt beneath the pillow a flash of cold light, and a dagger was already plunged into Huang He's chest. His eyes widened in disbelief. I released the dagger, raising an eyebrow, since eunuch Huang mentioned taking the secret to the grave. Your Highness shall grant you that wish. He collapsed slowly, his throat emitting only hoarse sounds. Dead eunuch, now you truly live up to the name. I donned my black night attire, picked up the lifeless body of Huang He, and scaled the rooftops under the cover of the quiet night. I dumped him in the corner room of the Hanzhong Palace, the very place where the Empress and the guards met their end. Returning to my bedchamber, I wiped away the bloodstains. What a wonderful night! It made it hard for me to discern the original color of the blood, or else, with my timid nature, I might have been scared to death. Having done all this, I went to sleep peacefully. A month later, Song Yang lifted my house arrest. From my father, I learned that Song Yang had investigated for a month and discovered that the Empress had been having an affair with a guard for over 2 years. Enraged, he smashed several teacups and eventually ordered the investigation to cease. To the public, he only announced that the Empress had contracted a fatal illness and passed away suddenly. As for Huang He, the investigation was perfunctory, and since the murderer couldn't be found, the matter was hastily buried along with the body. No one would care about the life or death of a lowly eunuch. However, the Empress's maternal family, the Wangs, were the most prominent family in the capital, and the Empress's father was the Grand Tutor to the Crown Prince. The Wangs refused to let the matter rest and implored Song Yang to continue the investigation. Infuriated, Song Yang directly confronted them with the findings of the Empress's illicit affair. The Wang family finally shut their mouths. As for me, even the Wang family didn't believe I had the guts to kill the Empress. They all agreed that while I was timid, I wasn't a fool. No one would be stupid enough to kill someone and then stay at the scene, let alone hold the murder weapon. It must have been a frame-up. As for who framed me, they could never find out. Although Song Yang had released my feet, I still remained indoors, never stepping beyond the main gate. To my surprise, the noble consort came to visit me. Although she had also bullied me in the past, we had never had much interaction. She was adorned in pearls and jewels, her purple gown exuding elegance and splendor. Truly, she was a great beauty. This humble concubine pays her respects to the noble consort. I bent down slightly to bow to her. The imperial consort took my hand and gestured for me to sit beside her. You must have been terrified that day, she spoke softly, and as I met her gaze, I saw her eyes filled with tenderness and a warm smile. A sense of foreboding rose within me as I saw her like this. Sure enough, the next moment she said, "You don't know, do you? On the day the Empress passed away, she wore a golden hairpin bestowed by the Emperor, but that hairpin has mysteriously disappeared." She took a sip of tea and then slowly continued, "I've heard that consort Wen, though timid, has a great fondness for gold and jewels." After saying this, she couldn't help but glance at me. I clenched the cuff of my sleeve, my palm sweating cold. I didn't know how to respond to her, unsure if she was friend or foe, and I couldn't rashly kill her or confess everything to her. I could only feign ignorance, managing to stammer out a half-hearted, "Ah." She covered her mouth, laughing at my expression, and after her laughter subsided, she tapped my forehead. You, with those beautiful eyes of yours, so pure and innocent, rest assured. I am not here to interrogate you, no one knows about this, and all the servants who attended to the Empress have been dealt with. Wen Fu, remember this, I will never become your enemy. Still, I couldn't shake off my unease, so I asked my father to quietly investigate the noble consort Han. The investigation results my father handed me came as a great shock. I had known the noble consort Han since we were children. The noble consort Han's father, the Minister of War, was a close friend of my own father, and her mother was a bosom friend of my mother. In fact, the noble consort Han and my elder brother had even made a verbal betrothal. I vaguely remember playing together with the noble consort Han when we were young. Later, when our entire family moved to the border region, we never met again. So that's the connection between me and consort Han. Perhaps that's why she helped me. I'm not sure if she knows it was me who killed the Empress. Therefore, I dare not fully trust her, for the human heart is fickle. After learning about the true nature of the noble consort Han, I slept uneasily that night. In my dream, I returned to the frontier. The frontier in February was still bitterly cold, with snow falling heavily. There had been no recent battles, but my father, as the commander, continued to drill the soldiers and patrol the border every day. Father came home in the evening, covered in snow. Mother was worried that he might fall ill and complained a few times. With such heavy snow, you still had to go out yourself. You're not young anymore, you need to take better care of your health. Father didn't get angry, he just chuckled and patted my head. The soldiers are training in the heavy snow. As their commander, how could I indulge in comfort? Mother shot father a look. You always have so many excuses. After my elder brother finished his studies, our whole family gathered around the fireplace. Mother prepared a sumptuous dinner, and I always ended up with oil all over my mouth. Mother would patiently wipe the oil off my lips without complaint. My elder brother grumbled, "Mother is too biased. Little sister is already 15. Yet you still wipe her mouth for her." "Then I'll help you wipe too," Mother said, reaching out to wipe my brother's mouth, but he quickly dodged away. When I woke up, my pillow was soaked with tears. Father, Mother, brother, wait for me. The Mid-Autumn Festival in the capital was exceptionally lively, and even the royal banquet was bustling with activity. The Wang family, ever since the Empress passed away, had rarely been seen. To my surprise, I saw Wang Lin at the royal banquet. He is the Empress's younger brother. Everyone in the capital knows that Wang Lin is mediocre and unremarkable, but who can blame him for having a good background at a young age? He has already reached the position of Vice Minister of Revenue. However, today I noticed he seemed unhappy. After drinking a few cups of wine alone, he bid farewell to Song Yang and left. My drinking capacity isn't great, and after a few cups, I felt dizzy and lightheaded, so I got up to take my leave. Haitang brought me some warm water, and I enjoyed a comfortable bath. Haitang, have everyone go and rest. You can also distribute the Mid-Autumn Festival rewards. After Haitang left, I lay down on the bed at ease. At the same time, a shocking murder occurred on Chang'an Street. A man in official robes rode a swift horse, galloping through the streets of Chang'an. The crowd was packed tight, forcing people to hastily step aside, but even curses couldn't make the man stop. Someone was shoved to the ground, and just as the horse's hooves were about to trample them, the man on horseback suddenly spewed blood and fell heavily from the horse, collapsing to the ground. People around approached to check, only to find a long silver needle piercing his chest, directly into the heart. This man was Wang Lin, and he died on the spot. Grand Tutor Wang wept bitterly, kneeling in the main hall, pleading with Song Yang to investigate thoroughly. Although Song Yang had already involved the Ministry of Justice in the investigation, he was still dissatisfied and hoped that the Grand Court of Revision would also join in the investigation. The sudden death of the Vice Minister of Revenue in broad daylight shocked the entire court. After several days of investigation, no results were found. Grand Tutor Wang even suspected that the late Lin Shuo had come back to claim his vengeance. In just over a month, his daughter, the Empress, had died, followed by his son. Apart from Lin Shuo, who harbored a deep-seated grudge against him, he couldn't imagine who else would dare to assassinate an official of the court in broad daylight. Your Majesty, do you think it's Lin Shuo? Absurd. Could a dead man still wield such power and influence? Upon hearing the news brought by Haitang, I fell into a pensive silence. 3 years ago, Lin Shuo was once the protector of the nation, commanding a force of 50,000 soldiers guarding the border. Later, while Lin Shuo was traveling back to the capital with his family, he received a royal decree ordering the imprisonment of his entire family on charges of treason. Emperor Song Yang, considering Lin Shuo's contributions to the Zhou dynasty, granted the Lin family the mercy of self-execution, sparing their relatives from punishment. However, all the servants and attendants of the Lin household, regardless of gender, were confiscated and sent to the Yi Yuting. Emperor Song Yang ordered Wen Du to personally oversee the confiscation of the Lin estate and to inventory the servants and attendants of the Lin family, who were then escorted to the Yi Yuting. When I first entered the palace, I once got lost and happened upon the Yi Yuting, where I saw Haitang beaten until her body was covered in bruises, and I felt a pang of compassion. I begged my father to arrange for her to be placed under my care. My father was the minister of the secretariat, the highest official of the ministry, and arranging for a maidservant was a trivial matter for him. Haitang fetched a handkerchief, soaked it in warm water, and gently wiped away the tear stains on my face. Your Majesty, today is your birthday. If you keep crying, your eyes will swell. I have been in the palace for a year, yet I have not earned the Emperor's favor, so my birthday passed in cold silence. To my surprise, the noble consort sent a birthday gift, a finely crafted bow and arrows. I held the bow in my hands, caressing it. I thought she must have known my true identity by now. When I was 10, border conflicts erupted frequently. My father led the troops into battle, and I worried for him. So, I secretly slipped into the military camp and followed my father to face the enemy. I hadn't even had the chance to kill anyone when I was splattered with the blood of my enemies. Seeing the blood, I was so startled that I fainted on the spot. When I woke up, I was lying in bed, and I saw my father, mother, and brother all looking worried. The doctor said, "The young lady just fainted from the sight of blood. There's nothing serious." After my father saw the doctor out, he grabbed a whip and was about to hit me. "You rebellious girl. You dare to go to the battlefield. What more will you do next? Fly to the heavens. Today, I'll beat you to death." I hid behind my mother, pulling on her with a pitiful, sobbing tone. Daughter was only worried about father. I thought my mother would protect me, but instead, she took a step to the side and said, "Indeed, you've been reckless. If I don't discipline you now, what will happen in the future?" I ran to my elder brother's side, grabbing his sleeve. "Brother, save me." My brother shook off my hand. "If it weren't for me bringing you back, you'd be dead. Father should teach you a lesson." In the end, father's whip didn't land on me. He only punished me by forbidding me from going out and making me copy the *3 character classic * every day. When father returned from the battlefield, he gave me a delicate and compact bow and arrow, and invited his deputy to personally teach me. In addition to my daily lessons with the tutor, I also had an extra martial arts class. Just like my brother, the skills I practiced best were light footwork and concealed weapons. My brother, on the other hand, excelled in archery. My hidden weapons were personally crafted by my elder brother, 10 silver needles, hard in texture, capable of sealing one's fate upon drawing blood. Sadly, only 9 remain now. If my elder brother were to find out, would he blame me? Lady Han entered the palace 2 years before I did. Before her marriage, she had exchanged numerous letters with my elder brother and knew of his skill in horseback riding and archery. I prepared some pastries and went to visit Lady Han. As she now oversees the inner palace, it was only right for me to express my gratitude. Han Guifei dismissed everyone. "You've finally come." She stood calm and composed, certain that I would come. "I humbly thank your highness for your assistance last time and for the birthday gift you sent." Han Guifei helped me up. "A fu. I know it's you. We don't need to be so formal between us. I share the same hope as you, that they will have their innocence vindicated." Han Guifei indeed knows my identity now. I realize I can no longer pretend in front of her, and for some reason, I trust her. I hold on to Han Guifei, sobbing uncontrollably. "Sister Wanwan, you also believe they are innocent, right? I knew my brother didn't misjudge you." Han Guifei gently stroked my back. "I naturally trust Lin Ziyi, and I trust his parents as well. Afu, remember that you are not alone. If you need anything, come to me without hesitation." I nodded. But I knew I wouldn't seek her out. I couldn't involve her in this. I didn't delve into how she recognized me. She had risen to the position of imperial concubine in just 2 years, which must have required her own methods. I had just left Lady Han's quarters when I was stopped by Eunuch Zhong. "Lady Wen, please wait. His Majesty summons you." Eunuch Zhong's face was expressionless, and I knew it wouldn't be anything good. I followed Eunuch Zhong to the main hall, where Grand Tutor Wang was also present. I knelt and bowed. "Your servant pays respects to your Majesty." Song Yang did not allow me to rise. His voice was cold as he spoke. "Wen Fu, who are you?" I looked at Song Yang in confusion. "Your servant is Wen Fu." Song Yang snorted coldly. "But the Grand Tutor says you are not the biological daughter of the Minister of Revenue. You only appeared in the capital 3 years ago as the legitimate daughter of the Minister of Revenue. This day has finally come. I never expected the Wang family to still be investigating the cause of the Empress's death, and they've even traced it back to my identity." I lightly pinched the cuff of my sleeve, took a deep breath, and replied in a gentle voice, "Yes, this concubine is not my father's biological daughter. I didn't expect you to admit it so readily." "So, you killed the Empress as well. Who exactly are you?" Song Yang interrogated sharply, and I trembled in fear. Suppressing the panic in her heart, she hesitantly spoke. "Your Majesty, I truly did not kill the Empress. I really am Wen Fu." Still trying to deceive, Song Yang threw down a stack of memorials, and my forehead burned with pain. Enduring the pain, she continued to explain, "I am from the Wen clan. My parents passed away due to illness, and the Minister of Revenue took pity on my orphaned state, bringing me into his home and adopting me as his daughter. I swear I am not lying, Your Majesty. You can investigate as you wish." The louder I cried, "But I truly did not kill the Empress. I had no grievances with the Empress. How could I dare to harm her?" Song Yang seemed to calm down a bit, and then the Grand Tutor Wang stepped forward. 3 years ago, it would be too much of a coincidence with the Lin family case. And moreover, it was Minister Wen who handled the aftermath of that case. "Your Majesty, if she really is the daughter of the Lin family, then my daughter and son might very well have been killed by her." I suddenly looked up at Grand Tutor Wang. "You're quite imaginative, Grand Tutor, to link me with the Lin family like that. What virtue do I possess to have the ability to kill the Empress, let alone the Minister Wang as a woman in the harem? How could I even step outside? I am weak and powerless. How could I possibly use a hidden weapon?" Before Grand Tutor Wang could speak, I kowtowed heavily to Song Yang, tears streaming down my face. "Please, Your Majesty, investigate thoroughly and restore my innocence. Your servant has been in the palace for a year. Though I have never gained Your Majesty's favor, I have always upheld my duties, regarding Your Majesty as my sovereign, and have never dared to deceive you in the slightest." My words caused Song Yang to frown. He must have thought of the fact that the Empress had been unfaithful to him for 2 years. The Grand Tutor Wang glared at me with resentment. "They all say that Concubine Wen is timid and delicate, but it seems to me she has a sharp tongue. Your Majesty, Grand Tutor Wang is being unreasonable. I've been wrongfully accused of being a murderer, yet I can't even defend myself a few words." Before Grand Tutor Wang could say anything more, Emperor Song Yang impatiently waved his hand to cut him off. "Enough, Grand Tutor, you're merely speculating. I will have someone investigate this thoroughly." As I left the main hall, my legs felt a bit weak. Fortunately, my father had already arranged my identity with meticulous clarity. I'm not afraid of him investigating. In the end, he'll only find out that I'm the daughter of a member of the Wen clan. 3 years ago, the entire Lin family was imprisoned, and when Du sneaked in to visit them at night, he and Lin Shuo had been friends since they were young. Lin Shuo begged him to save the 2 children. Treason was a grave crime, and when Du could do nothing, unable to bear it, he agreed to save one. But someone had to take their place. Lin Ziyi didn't want to put his parents in a difficult position, so he pushed his sister Lin Fu forward. Dong Li, Lin Fu's personal maidservant who was the same age as her, stepped forward voluntarily, offering to take Lin Fu's place. Lin Fu absolutely refused, but Lin Ziyi knocked her out. When Lin Fu woke up, she was already in the residence of the Minister of Revenue. She had a new identity, Wen Fu, the second daughter of the minister's family. To the outside world, it was only said that Wen Fu had been weak since childhood and had been raised within the clan. Now that she was 15 and about to come of age, she was brought back to be personally raised by her family. 15 years ago, when Wen Du was still an official in the south, no one knew whether he had a daughter. Even if someone investigated, they could only uncover that Wen Fu was the daughter of a clan member. There was indeed a couple from the Wen clan who passed away 3 years ago. Wen Du's arrangements were flawless, which was why he had no fear of anyone investigating. The Wen couple treated me as their own child. A year ago, when Song Yang held the selection, others were eager to send their daughters in to secure their positions. But Wen Du was unwilling to send his only biological daughter, Wen Tang, into it. However, the list of candidates included the daughter of the Wen family. I stepped forward voluntarily, expressing my gratitude for the Wen couple's life-saving and nurturing kindness. At first, Wen Du was reluctant, but since I insisted, he understood my intentions and eventually agreed. He only said one thing: "Although I am not your biological father, I have long considered you my own daughter. If you need anything, just speak up, and I will do my best to help you." In the eyes of outsiders, Wen Du sending his daughter to the palace was also to secure his position, but I knew he truly treated me as his daughter. After entering the palace, I remained dormant, neither seeking favor nor striving for dominance. Everyone thought I was weak and easily bullied. And even when I killed the Empress, no one believed it. The investigation into Wang Lin's case lasted a month, and the final conclusion was that he had offended a figure in the world of martial artists and outlaws. Someone had witnessed him forcing himself on a civilian woman, who, refusing to submit, died by smashing her head against the wall. That woman was the daughter of the leader of the Qianshan sect. As for the leader of the Qianshan sect, he had long since left the great Jew. Wang Taifu seemed to age several years overnight, his children killed, yet due to their dishonorable conduct, he could only swallow his grief and humiliation. But I knew he wouldn't let it go so easily. He would surely investigate in secret. He began to cultivate his illegitimate children, placing his illegitimate son in the position of the Ministry of Revenue's vice minister and sending his illegitimate daughter into the palace to become one of Song Yang's consorts. The illegitimate daughter, Wang Yunhe, was of average appearance, and Song Yang only granted her the rank of a consort. It will be difficult for the Wang family to produce another empress. The day of the Grand Prince's 3rd birthday was exceptionally lively. The Grand Prince was born to the noble consort Han and is the only child of Song Yang, who dotes on him immensely. I brought a copy of a military treatise from the previous dynasty as a gift for the Grand Prince, which I had someone bring back from the old Lin family estate at the frontier. Wang Yunhe saw that I had only brought one book and let out a cold laugh. "Sister, being the daughter of the Minister of Revenue, how can you be so petty? This was the second time I met Wang Yunhe, and I've never had a good impression of the Wang family. My father is an upright official, and I follow in his footsteps, naturally different from my sister, unable to produce such precious items as the Night Pearl of the East Sea. I flipped through the book in my hand and continued, I suppose my sister has never suffered the hardships of studying, which is why she doesn't recognize this Feng's art of war. Wang Yunhe was about to retort when the imperial noble consort Han raised her hand to stop her, forcing her to close her mouth, though not without shooting me a glare. The imperial noble consort Han took the book and looked at it, her expression surprised. Feng's art of war. Could this be the work of the renowned General Feng Lingyun from the previous dynasty? I nodded. Your Highness has a keen eye. It is indeed the work of Feng Lingyun. This is the only copy left in the world, a true rarity. Han Guifei gently brushed her fingers over the pages of the book. Such a precious item. Can you bear to part with it? I happened upon it by chance, and it is of no use to me. I hear that the Crown Prince has a great fondness for military strategy. Only by gifting it to the Crown Prince can it fulfill its true purpose. As Han Guifei and I exchanged words, our conversation flowing back and forth, we completely ignored the increasingly displeased expression on Wang Yunhe's face. Song Yang returned from the morning court session, leading the Crown Prince as they both entered the room. After the greetings were done and Song Yang had just sat down, Wang Yunhe let out a surprised gasp, drawing everyone's attention and leaving them puzzled. Song Yang glanced at Wang Yunhe. What's the matter? Why the fuss? Wang Yunhe's face turned bright red. I noticed that the great prince and sister Wen Pin have remarkably similar features around their eyes. At first glance, it seemed as if the great prince was sister Wen Pin's son. After saying this, Wang Yunhe let out a couple of awkward laughs. Song Yang and the other concubines glanced back and forth between me and the eldest prince upon hearing this. The imperial consort's expression remained calm, but her fingers clenched slightly. A bold conjecture arose in my mind. The eldest prince is 3 years old. My brother Lin Ziyi was ordered to take his own life 3 years ago, and the imperial consort Han entered the palace after the Lin family's downfall. Impossible. I shook my head, suppressing this daring thought. My elder brother had been stationed at the border for 4 years. I curved my lips into a smile. Isn't it normal for a nephew to resemble his maternal aunt? This time, everyone looked at me with confusion. I spoke calmly. Consort Han is my cousin, Your Majesty. I believe you've investigated my background. I originally belonged to the Wen clan, but my parents passed away 3 years ago. My mother was the younger sister of the consort's mother. Song Yang suddenly understood. Oh, it's true, concubine Wang. There's no need to be so alarmed. You should spend your days reading more and learning etiquette. Wang Yunhe bit her lower lip and replied sullenly, yes, this concubine understands. Concubine Han relaxed her clenched hand, embraced the eldest prince, and raised the corner of her mouth. Haven't you greeted your aunt Wen yet? Your aunt has gifted you a rare copy of the Feng's Art of War. The crown prince's eyes lit up at the mention of the military treatise and he quickly ran over to me. Thank you, auntie. I gently patted the crown prince's head and took a closer look at his face. Returning to the moonlit abode, I received a letter from my father. Imperial tutor Wang had someone bring back an old servant from the Lin household from the frontier. I walked to the candlestick and burned the letter to ashes. That old scoundrel, Grand Tutor Wang, is indeed still investigating, most likely aware of my identity. Perhaps Wang Yunhe's actions today were not accidental, but rather instructed by Grand Tutor Wang. Although I cannot confirm the identity of the first prince, I must ensure that neither he nor consort Han becomes involved. Wang Yunhe's remark that I resemble the eldest prince seemed casual, yet it planted a seed in everyone's hearts. Once my identity is revealed, whether or not the eldest prince is Song Yang's biological son, he will be suspected of being the bloodline of my elder brother. by then, if Consort Han falls, the inner court will once again be under the control of the Wang family, and my fate goes without saying. Grand Tutor Wang seeks to kill two birds with one stone. It seems Grand Tutor Wang cannot be left alive. Haitang, are the preparations complete? Haitang's face was filled with worry. Your Highness, let me go instead. The prince's residence is too dangerous. I patted her hand to soothe her. Although you've attended martial arts lessons with me, your light footwork and hidden weapons are not as practiced as mine. Moreover, I sighed softly, moreover, your sister Dongli sacrificed herself to save me. Haitang, as long as I am alive, I will never allow you to put yourself in danger. The Wang residence was indeed vast. It took me a long time to find the room where the former servants of the Lin family were staying. I lightly touched down on the roof, lifted a tile, and a familiar face came into view, Madame Zhong, who was in charge of purchasing for the Lin household. I coated the silver needle with the poison that Haitang had prepared, ready to strike. At that moment, the Grand Tutor Wang suddenly arrived. I listened carefully to their conversation, and the general meaning was, Aunt Zhong was accusing me, and no matter whether I was Lin Fu or not, she was to insist that it was me. After the matter was successfully resolved, Grand Tutor Wang would give Aunt Zhong a large sum of money and a courtyard. I let out a cold laugh. What a generous offer. But unfortunately, your plans are about to fall through. I put away the poison needle. Changing my mind, I wanted her to watch as her life slowly came to an end. After Grand Tutor Wang left, I climbed in through the window. Madame Zhong was startled and hadn't even had time to scream when I swiftly sealed her voice with a silver needle. I pulled down my veil. Madame Zhong, it's been a long time. Madame Zhong's mouth gaped open, but no sound came out. I continued, betraying one's old master is nothing, but it shouldn't interfere with my path. As the words left my lips, the dagger sliced through, and blood gushed from the right side of Zhong Mama's neck. Before leaving, I kindly set a fire in the study of Minister Wang. I soaked in the bath prepared by Haitang, stretching lazily. Haitang, inform everyone to spread the news. The next day, the entire capital was abuzz with two pieces of news. The first was that the Wang household had caught fire the previous night, and the blaze was only extinguished by daybreak. The second also involved Grand Tutor Wang. It was said that Grand Tutor Wang owned a private copper mine and had long-standing business dealings with the tribes beyond the border. The Great Jew has always prohibited the export of copper and iron, and Lin Shuo strictly enforced this regulation during his tenure as the border garrison commander. The Lin family was implicated, actually because Lin Shuo discovered the hidden mines of the Grand Tutor Wang, in a preemptive move. The Grand Tutor Wang framed Lin Shuo with fabricated evidence of treason and collusion with the enemy. Haitang reported to me, Your Majesty, everything is proceeding as planned, but this servant does not understand. I set down the book in my hand. What is it that you do not understand? Why are we only releasing half the information? There's still the Emperor. I quickly covered Haitang's mouth with my hand. This is the palace. Always remember to be cautious with your words and actions. We need to take things one step at a time. Hand over the evidence of the Grand Tutor Wang's private copper mine to the Ministry of Justice. Haitang nodded vigorously. Don't worry, Your Highness, I'll take care of it right away. I will not let a single one of the people responsible for the Lin family's tragedy go unpunished. Father, mother, brother, please wait a little longer. The Marquis Wang's illegal mines have been sealed. Yet the Marquis Wang himself was merely dismissed from his position. The night is deep and endless, and the snow suddenly falls heavily, as if someone in the heavens has crushed a whole piece of cloud. I've been lurking in the prince's residence, waiting for Grand Tutor Wang to appear, for nearly half an hour now. At first, I could still distinguish which room belonged to Grand Tutor Wang, but later, I couldn't tell anymore. The snow fell straight down, blending everything near and far into a blurred expanse of white fluff. I shook off the snow on my body, preparing to retreat. It seems tonight's mission is off to a bad start. Just as I turned around, several clusters of orange-yellow light appeared through the snow curtain. The surrounding flames closed in. You've finally shown yourself. Who are you? How dare you attempt to assassinate me in my own residence time and time again? Grand Tutor Wang stepped out from the crowd. I glanced around and saw that the servants of the Wang estate each held a bow, arrows aimed directly at me. I snorted coldly, of course, someone here to take your life. As soon as the words left my mouth, silver needles from my sleeve shot out, heading straight for the face of the Grand Tutor Wang. The guards by the Grand Tutor's side were also extremely quick, immediately drawing their blades to knock the needles away. Too bad, just a little short. Let you live for 2 more days. With a light tap of my toes, I leapt onto the roof, released the arrows. The Grand Tutor Wang shouted, blinded by the heavy snow. My lightness skill couldn't fully manifest, and my speed slowed. Several arrows flew simultaneously, but fortunately, I could dodge them with agility. Approaching the courtyard wall, with the final step, I heard a faint hiss. I reached out to touch my shoulder and found an arrow embedded there, my hand smeared with cold blood. Thankfully, I managed to escape, but the Wang family was still in hot pursuit. I quickly thought of a plan, taking advantage of the natural barrier created by the heavy snow, and swiftly jumped into an abandoned well. The well's opening was small, and not much snow had fallen inside. I tore open the left shoulder of my night clothes, removed the garment, and tied it together, gently biting one corner. I gripped the shaft of the arrow with my right hand and pulled it out with a firm force. I sprinkled some medicinal powder on the wound and wrapped it up roughly. After tending to the injury, I leaned against the well's wall, wiping the fine beads of sweat from my forehead. I spent over an hour in the well, my body growing heavier and my eyelids heavier still. To keep myself from falling asleep, I used silver needles to seal my acupoints. When the outside quieted down, I leapt up and landed by the well's edge, stumbling and nearly falling. My vision grew increasingly blurry, and I saw a figure in the haze. Your Highness, I've finally found you. I couldn't quite make out what Hai Tang was saying after that. I mustered my strength and ordered, Hai Tang, go back to the moonlit palace and find the imperial noble consort. When I opened my eyes again, the snow had stopped. Hai Tang brought over some warm water and replaced the cloth on my forehead. Your Majesty, it's been 2 days, and the fever has finally broken. As I was about to speak, Hai Tang continued. Your Highness, please rest assured, the imperial physician brought by the noble consort is her trusted confidant. To the outside, it is said that you have contracted a cold. Feeling reassured, I closed my eyes once more. After half a month of recuperation in the Chiua Palace, my injuries had mostly healed. Your Highness, Eunuch Zhong has arrived. What must come will come. I lowered my voice. Hai Tang, leave the palace tonight and wait for me at the villa. Your Highness, Miss. Be careful in everything. I'll wait for you. Hai Tang's expression was anxious, her eyes slightly red. I nodded and followed Eunuch Zhong away. Song Yang's face was stern, his eyes cold. Should I call you Concubine Wen, or Wen Fu, or perhaps Lin Fu? I respectfully performed a bow, smiling faintly. What is your Majesty saying? This subject does not understand. Song Yang raised his eyebrows slightly. You don't understand. Only when faced with the coffin do you shed tears. Come. Let Grand Tutor Wang in. Grand Tutor Wang examined me from head to toe. Lin Fu, the good daughter of Lin Shuo, skilled in hidden weapons and light footwork. It was you who killed the Empress and my son. The Grand Tutor Wang suddenly erupted in fury, pointing at me with eyes filled with boundless hatred, as if he wanted to tear me apart alive. Does the Grand Tutor Wang think he can slander me with just his words? Of course, I have evidence. The Grand Tutor clapped his hands, and 2 men entered, immediately bowing their heads and kneeling down. Song Yang spoke. Raise your heads and look at her. Do you recognize her? Both of them looked up at me simultaneously, their eyes filled with astonishment. I subtly winked at them. Only after receiving my signal did they reply, "Yes, we recognize her. She is the eldest young lady." These two were merely small merchants doing business at the border. When I was at the border, I often patronized their shop. It seems they were deceived here by the schemes of Grand Tutor Wang. The Grand Tutor Wang pointed at me. "I'd like to see how you plan to wriggle out of this." Song Yang sat in the seat of honor, coldly observing me. Looking at both Grand Tutor Wang and Song Yang, I curved the corners of my mouth upward. "That's right. I am Lin Fu. Since His Majesty and Lord Wang both wish for me to be Lin Fu, then I shall be Lin Fu." Lord Wang took out a scroll from his sleeve. "Not only is there a witness, but there is also physical evidence. This was found in the Lin residence at the border, a portrait of the traitor Lin Fu. As soon as I saw the scroll, I knew it was the small portrait my mother had painted of me on my 15th birthday. Rebel," I chuckled self-deprecatingly. "The title of rebel rolls off the tongue so easily for you, Lord Wang Taifu. Now, who in the world doesn't know that my entire loyal and righteous Lin family perished due to your schemes?" Suddenly, Song Yang stood up and rebuked sharply. "How dare you, Lin Fu? I am still here. Do you even acknowledge the principles of ruler and subject? The ruler guides the subject, but if the ruler is unjust, the subject may seek refuge in another land. Song Yang, you framed loyal generals for treason, cruelly murdered the loyal Lin family, and indulged in sycophants. This is your first injustice. The true owner of that copper mine is you, isn't it, for your own selfish desires? You disregarded the law of the land. This is your second injustice. Guards, take the traitor Lin Fu to the heavenly prison." Song Yang bellowed harshly. The imperial guards swiftly rushed in, surrounding me completely. As they were about to grab me, I slightly raised my wrist, and the silver needle shot out, hitting the center of Wang Taifu's forehead with precision. Wang Taifu's expression froze abruptly. He widened his eyes, trying to raise his hand to touch the spot, but his hand could no longer move. I made no resistance and allowed the imperial guards to take me away. Hearing the sound of his body collapsing to the ground, I laughed out loud. Another enemy eliminated, only one left. 4 years ago, the Yi tribe invaded, and my father fought day and night to finally succeed in defending the border. The Yi tribe was ambitious and frequently harassed the people at the border. My father petitioned to declare war on the Yi tribe, but Song Yang refused. Among those who opposed the war were Grand Tutor Wang and his son, the Vice Minister of Revenue, and a group of others. Helpless, my father had to produce the imperial edict of the late emperor. Military decisions at the border shall be determined by the protector of the nation, Marquis Lin Shuo. Song Yang reluctantly allocated the funds, as the money he had intended for the renovation of the palace was now being used for war. He then thought of mining copper to enrich his private treasury. For his own enjoyment, the Grand Tutor Wang secretly sold the copper to the Yi tribe, and when his father discovered this, they harbored a deep hatred toward him. 3 years ago, Wang Yunran advised Song Yang, falsely claiming that the elders of the Lin clan were gravely ill. In order to lure Lin Shuo under the guise of visiting relatives, Song Yang issued a decree. Out of consideration for Lin Shuo's hard work, he is specially permitted to bring his family back to the capital to visit relatives. When Lin Shuo's family was about to arrive in the capital, they were apprehended by Wang Lin and charged with the serious crime of treason. All the evidence was forged by Wang Taifu, who had someone imitate my father's handwriting. On the 5th day of my imprisonment in the heavenly prison, I finally heard some news. The minister of the secretariat, Wen Du, was forcibly granted leave, and the noble consort was confined to her quarters. Song Yang personally came to interrogate me. I told him that I had escaped during my return to the capital. On the way, I encountered a couple from the Wen clan who were gravely ill. Pretending to be their daughter, I took their token and went to the capital to seek refuge with Minister Wen. The emperor fell ill shortly after returning from the prison. The noble consort, who was originally under house arrest, came out temporarily to oversee affairs in order to maintain stability in the court. The noble consort has sent me to escort you. The person who came was the noble consort's senior palace maid. I had been staying in the dark and damp prison for several days. And as soon as I stepped out, the sunlight was so intense that I couldn't open my eyes. Let's go and see the emperor. Song Yang lay motionless on the bed, the room filled with the scent of medicine. Upon seeing me, everyone withdrew, evidently arranged in advance by the imperial concubine. I picked up the medicine by the bedside. Why hasn't the emperor taken his medicine? Seeing it was me, Song Yang looked utterly incredulous. How did you get out? Of course it was me who released them. The imperial concubine walked gracefully over, a smile playing on her lips. The emperor's eyes reddened. You vile woman, Han Wn, how dare you defy my decree? What is there to dare? You're nothing but a useless cripple. I forgot to tell you, but you've been poisoned with a rare toxin, and there's no cure. Song Yang coughed violently upon hearing this, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. It was you. You poisoned me, you wicked woman. Despite all the love I showed you, love me. You knew I had a betrothal, yet you still forced me into the palace with your decree. Not only that, but you killed the love of my life. All I feel for you is hatred, day after day by your side. Do you know how revolting it is for me? The Han consort's eyes burned with hatred as she looked down at Song Yang. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. I had originally planned to let you live a few more years, but you should never have touched a Fu. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. The eldest prince, his surnamed Lin. Song Yang couldn't catch his breath, his face turning crimson. After the imperial concubine finished speaking, I took out the silver needles. Song Yang was in a panic this time, frantically shaking his body and pleading repeatedly, Lin Fu, spare me. I'll make you the empress. I'll make your future child the crown prince. I flicked my finger, and the silver needle flew out. Who would want to be your empress? With a single needle, I sealed his throat. Leaving a faint silver dot on Song Yang's neck, the eldest prince ascended the throne, and the noble consort was honored as the Empress Dowager, taking charge of state affairs. The era name was set as Linza. The first order of business for the Empress Dowager's regency was to exonerate the Lin family. Within a month, the case was cleared, and those implicated were either executed or exiled. As for the masterminds, I personally dealt with them. The servants of the Lin household who were confiscated and sent to Yeyuting were all released from their bonds. I stood with the Empress Dowager on the city wall, overlooking the landscape. She handed me the small portrait my mother had drawn for me. Are you really not staying in the capital? I shook my head. No. The frontier is free and unrestrained. I will guard the frontier for His Majesty. The imperial decree stated, Lin Fu inherits the title of Duke Protector, is appointed as the Northern Garrison General, and will lead the Lin family's army to defend the frontier. After leaving the Wen household, I took the luggage my father and mother had prepared for me. Haitang had been waiting for a long time. Miss, can we kill a sheep to eat when we return to the border? Haitang, don't you know I have a small heart? I wouldn't dare to kill one. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. To avenge his cousin Lin Yuan, at her suggestion, Lu Fei abandoned me, his fiancé-to-be, at a brothel. I begged him desperately, but he merely waved his sleeve and said indifferently, Yuan is right. You need to see how these women make a living to learn your lesson. I spent a full 3 months in the brothel before Lu Fei finally came to take me back. He asked me, still causing trouble, no more trouble, and I don't want him anymore, and those I don't want have no reason to exist. Returning to the entrance of the Lu residence, it felt like an eternity had passed, though it had only been 3 months. This time, young lady, you should know what to say and what not to say. Inside the carriage, Madame Chen of the Drunken Flower Pavilion eyed me with a sidelong glance. Miss Lin can send you here once, and she can send you here a second time. If you're not obedient, you won't be so lucky next time." "I understand," I replied softly. She seemed thoroughly satisfied and pulled me out of the carriage. "I've brought Miss Song Ching back." At the gate of the Lu residence, she forced a smile as she addressed Zhong Mema, the current stewardess of the household and once Lin Yuan's wet nurse. Lu Fei was not at home. Apart from Zhong Mema, no one came to greet me. "Thank you for your trouble," Zhong Mema said, handing over a gratuity. I lowered my head and walked towards my previous residence, only to be stopped by the maidservant brought by Zhong Mema. "Miss Song's former residence, the Pleasant Garden, has been given to the young mistress by Lord Lu. Miss Song's new residence is elsewhere." I looked up, stunned. The young mistress is unwell, and the entire estate, only the Pleasant Garden, receives good sunlight. Lord Lu personally ordered for the young mistress to move in. If Miss Song causes a scene as she did before and angers the Lord, she might be sent back to that place again. Hearing that I was to be sent back, I trembled uncontrollably all over. "I won't cause trouble. I'll stay wherever you put me." Madame Zhong gave me a satisfied look. It seemed she was quite pleased with the results of the brothel's training. "Then follow me." The new room was located in the northwest corner of the estate, where sunlight rarely reached. Looking at the empty room, I remembered something and turned to ask, "What about the things from my previous room? What tone is that?" "Young lady, Mrs. Zhong pointed to a bundle at the foot of the bed. "Do you think we would take your belongings? The package only contained some of my clothes. The jade bottle my parents left me. And those paintings and calligraphy, where are they?" "What jade bottle? What paintings and calligraphy, Mrs. Zhong snorted dismissively. "Everything's right here. Are you trying to swindle me, Missy?" "No," I said anxiously. "I had my parents' calligraphy and paintings in my room, along with a pair of jade bottles. They were still there when I left. The jade vases were crafted by my parents themselves, and they are the last mementos they left for me. All they wished for was that I could find a good man and live a peaceful life thereafter." Not long after Zhong Mema left, she returned. By her side, Lin Yuan was dressed in a bright yellow gown, her hair adorned with the latest fashionable hairpins, and she held a kitten. Lu Fei doted on her, eager to give her the best that the capital had to offer. In contrast, I was disheveled, with only a single copper hairpin in my hair, looking worse than a maid. The snowball in her arms was a little kitten Lu Fei had found for me when I first moved into the Lu residence, worried that I would be bored. He had once joked that we were like the parents of the snowball, and I had always cherished the little cat as if it were a treasure, so that's why I got so angry when Lin Wan's maidservant deliberately whipped Snowball with a whip. But all I got in return was Lu Fei's words, making a fuss over an animal. How unreasonable. When Snowball saw me, it kept meowing non-stop in Lin Wan's arms. "Sister Ching," Lin Wan said with a smile, holding down the restless Snowball. "You've been away for 3 months, and Snowball has grown close to me. My cousin said it can keep me company from now on." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "It's just a cat, after all. I hope you don't mind." "Sister, mind? What right do I have to mind? Here, I can't even protect myself, let alone a kitten. If the young lady likes it, keep it then. That would be wonderful. It's just," she said with regret, "the pair of jade vases that were originally on Sister's table. Snowball accidentally knocked them over while playing. Oh dear, they got smashed." I suddenly looked up. "What did you say? Are these the calligraphy and paintings that Sister mentioned?" She had her maid toss a bundle of papers stained with yellow blotches in front of me. Sister must have been too indulgent with Snowball, nurturing its mischievous nature. So, these calligraphy and paintings, really, all ruined by that little beast's urine. Lin Yuan was lying. Snowball was well behaved, obedient, and intelligent. It never messed around or soiled things. The jade vase shattered, and the calligraphy and paintings that my parents had lovingly created throughout their lives were now unrecognizable, even covered in a foul stench. I slumped to the ground. my trembling hand reaching out to touch the ruined scrolls. That year, in Song Village, as a healer, I saved Lu Fei, who had been left for dead by bandits, with only half a life left. It was he who said he would repay my kindness with marriage, pledging himself to me. It was he who said that one's background didn't matter, and neither did social status. The flood took away my parents, my home, leaving me with nowhere to go. It was he who insisted that since he had already proposed to my parents, I was considered part of the Lu family, and he wanted me to return to the capital with him. I believed him and came to the Lu residence with him. His parents had passed away long ago. Leaving him as the sole heir, I was still in mourning, so the wedding was set for a year later. During that time, he built the Yi garden for me, bought medical books from the capital, and even allowed me to grow medicinal herbs in the back of the garden, doing what I loved. When others inquired about his soon-to-be wife, he never shied away from mentioning my humble origins, proudly praising how brave and resourceful I was, saving his life. Lu Fei is a trusted confidant of the emperor, having risked his life for the throne, and now he is a rising star in the court. With so many powerful nobles in the capital, I couldn't help but feel inferior, believing I was unworthy of him. But he took my hand and said to me, "Qing, do not belittle yourself. You are the finest woman in this world." I believed, thinking that the future would be filled with mutual affection and unwavering love. But Lin Yuan appeared at this moment. She was the daughter of Lu Fei's aunt's family. When her whole family was convicted of a crime, the men were sent to the army, and the women became lowly, ending up in the brothels of the red light district. She was passed from hand to hand, eventually being sold to the Zuehua Lu in the capital. Her former wet nurse, Mrs. Zhong, found her begging on the street and brought the news to the Lu residence. That night, I was engaged in a game of chess with Lu Fei, having the upper hand. Upon hearing Mrs. Zhong's tearful account, his face changed dramatically. "Arching, I'll be back soon, leave the game as it is, and we'll finish it another day." He didn't return home that night. The next day, he brought back Lin Yuan, who had been freed from servitude, and as I watched him tenderly care for Lin Yuan and the face that bore a striking resemblance to mine, 7 parts alike, it suddenly dawned on me. That unfinished game of chess, he never played it through with me again. And one wrong move, and the entire game is lost. What is sister doing? Lin Yuan frowned. Does sister think I did this on purpose? This beast was raised by Sister Qing. Does sister really think I should be blamed for her own cat ruining her own calligraphy and paintings? What is all this commotion about? Lu Fei's voice suddenly came from the doorway. I froze. Lin Yuan plopped down to her knees. "Sister, I'm sorry. It's my fault for not watching Snowball." She began kowtowing to me. "I'll give you my worthless life. Will that do? Please don't be mad at me. It's my fault. It's my fault." "Yuan, what are you doing?" Lu Fei strode forward, pulling her up with a heartbroken expression. "You've just recovered. Do you want to risk your life?" "Cousin, it's my fault. I didn't take good care of Xueqiu. And now I've ruined sister's calligraphy, painting, and jade vase. Sister is right to be angry. I'm willing to give my life to make up for it. I really am. I truly mean it," she cried loudly. Lu Fei's brows furrowed tightly. "What nonsense are you talking? It's just a painting and calligraphy. Who would dare make you risk your life to compensate for it? Are paintings and calligraphy more important than your life?" he said sternly. But, Lin Yuan cried and looked at me. "Sister said that painting is very precious, if it's not the work of a renowned master." "What's so precious about it?" Lu Fei turned to look at me, his eyes unable to hide his disappointment. "Today is only your first day back in the mansion, and you're already forcing her like this, after 3 months of not seeing each other." This was the first thing he said to me. Lin Yuan, nestled in Lu Fei's embrace, looked at me with a triumphant expression. "Cousin, I seem unable to catch my breath." Nanny Zhong also fell to her knees with a thud, kowtowing repeatedly. "My lord." Dr. Zhong said that Miss Yuan's illness cannot withstand any stimulation. Her condition was almost fully recovered over these 3 months. The painting and the jade vase were truly destroyed by this little wretch. It has nothing to do with Miss Yuan. When Miss Song inquired, Miss Yuan immediately sent the painting over and even apologized to Miss Song, but Miss Song refused to let it go, unrelenting. I hadn't said a single word. Lu Fei looked at me. Song Qing, do you have anything to say? I looked up, meeting his furious eyes. 3 months had passed, yet he remained unchanged. I shifted my gaze away, woodenly holding the painting and calligraphy. It wasn't that I couldn't refute him, but I knew that arguing would be futile. Lu Fei will always stand on Lin Ruoan's side, just as when she drugged Lu Fei's wine, hoping to seduce him and then frame me for it. Lu Fei believed her, just as when she claimed I poisoned the medicinal soup she drank, causing her old illness to flare up. Lu Fei believed her, just as when she accused me of deliberately spreading the news that she was a courtesan to the servants in the Lu household, trying to drive her out of the Lu residence. Lu Fei believed her. I still remember that night when Lin Yuan tried to take her own life and was saved by Lu Fei. The 3 of them were in the same room, and Lin Yuan wept, saying she had no face to live in this world. Arching, why must you make things so difficult for her? Lu Fei's gaze at me was filled with disappointment. You know how important a woman's reputation is. Again and again, must you really push her to the brink of death? I've said it before, I never spread rumors about Miss Lin. Moreover, I've never believed that judging a woman by her chastity is the right way. Sister Qing has never been to such a filthy place. How can you so lightly say such things? Lin Yuan cried out, interrupting me. Sister has never experienced the pain of others, so how could you know what I've been through? How could you understand my suffering? You think chastity is useless, so you let all the servants know that I came from a brothel. I told you, those rumors weren't spread by me. So many times in the dead of night, I've wanted to end this worthless life of mine. If it weren't for the thought of seeing my cousin one more time, I would have died countless times. Now that I've seen my cousin, I've fulfilled my wish. If sister can't stand me, as long as my cousin is happy, I'll die willingly. She wailed and tried to run into the wall, causing chaos in the room. Finally, Lu Fei knocked her unconscious and summoned the physician. When the physician Zhong arrived, he kept shaking his head. My lord, the young lady's body is already frail like a flickering candle, coupled with the effects of the aphrodisiac and poison she has endured. If she continues to be so agitated, her life will truly be in danger. Currently, she has unresolved matters weighing on her heart. If her heart's knots are not untied, it won't be long before preparations for her funeral must be made. Upon hearing the words matters after death, Lu Fei's expression changed abruptly. After the physician left, he walked toward me, arching, Yuan does not owe you anything. I have already promised you that our wedding will not be changed because of her, he said, looking at me. But now, you owe her too much. I looked at him, feeling a sharp pain in my chest. Fei, I told you, I never did the things she accused me of, and I never spread rumors about her. Even now, you still refuse to repent, he shouted harshly. When will you ever stop causing trouble? When will you ever accept her? You weren't like this before. Do you really need me to send you to Drunken Flower Pavilion to experience what she went through before you'll understand? What did you say? I was stunned. You want to send me where? As long as you apologize to me and to her, and promise me you'll never make things difficult for her again, I won't send you there. Do you trust me so little? Yuan wouldn't joke about her own reputation. Besides you, who else could it be? Heh. I slumped to the ground, but the stubbornness in my bones remained. Lu Fei, I said I didn't do it, and I didn't. Song Qing, never admit to things I didn't do. If the Lu household can't tolerate me, then I'll leave. Where are you going? Unexpectedly, his face turned livid as he grabbed my wrist. The entire Song village is flooded. You have nowhere to go. The world is unstable now. Do you really think you can go anywhere? Anywhere is better than here. I struggled to break free from his grip. Let me go. Even if I end up in a brothel, I'd rather not stay here. Do you even know what you're saying? He spoke gravely. Song Ching, I've truly indulged you too much. To the point of recklessness. The next day, I was indeed sent to the Drunken Flower Pavilion by Lu Fei. He said that only by seeing how these women make a living would I learn to behave and cherish my life in the Lu household, as he wished. Over these 3 months, I truly changed a lot. Just like now, I remained silent, no longer rushing to argue as I used to. Lin Yuan was gasping for breath, and Lu Fei anxiously took her away, inviting a physician to treat her. There was no need to wait for my response or lack thereof, nor did it matter what I might say. With everyone gone, I carefully unfolded the ruined calligraphy and paintings, laying them out on the table. After a long moment of stunned silence, night had fallen. Lu Fei returned. Their eyes met. My lord, are you going to send me back again? I asked softly. He paused for a moment, then shook his head. You've lost weight. Living in the Drunken Flower Pavilion, where meals were irregular, sometimes starving, sometimes stuffed, it was natural to lose weight. After staying in such a place for 3 months, do you still want to go back? I also shook my head. He sighed. Then why did you make things difficult for her when you came back? I looked at him. He clearly knew that those calligraphy scrolls and jade vases were the last things my parents left me. They were the items I had risked my life to retrieve from the house. Even as the floodwaters raged, I pinched the palm of my hand, forcing myself to stay calm. He sighed and rubbed his temples before continuing. Calligraphy, paintings, and jade vases are lifeless, but people are alive. Moreover, Yuan didn't do it on purpose. It was the cat. Why must you be so unforgiving? Her current health cannot withstand any more stress. You've been to that place. You should know how difficult it is for women in brothels. Put yourself in her shoes and consider her feelings. Must you really be so relentless in targeting her? Please rest assured, sir, I know I was wrong. I spoke softly. He was stunned. You. What did you call me? I stood up, and in his astonished gaze, I tossed all the drawings into the prepared furnace, in the flames. The things that had once been so cherished turned to ashes in an instant. The Lord is right. The living will always be more important than the dead. Turning back, I knelt on the ground. I will apologize to Sister Yuan for this matter. Please, Your Excellency, do not send me back to the Drunken Flower Pavilion again. What are you? His expression was complicated. At that moment, someone suddenly burst through the door. It was Nanny Zhong. Master, it's terrible. The young lady has coughed up blood. Lu Fei ignored me and rushed to Lin Yuan's courtyard. I followed behind him. The Yuan garden had changed a lot compared to when I left. The once medicinal herb garden was now filled with various beautiful flowers, and exquisite jade ornaments adorned the interior. Lin Yuan coughed up blood and fell into a coma, not waking up even by night. After examining the pulse, Dr. Zhong hesitated and stammered, "If you have a solution, why not speak up?" Lu Fei slammed the table in anger. "Master, the young lady's condition is due to today's grievance causing a sudden surge of anger. To treat it, there is a harsh method." But, he glanced at me. I spoke softly. "Please, go ahead and tell me, sir, to wake the young lady quickly. We need to use the blood of a girl of the same age as a medicinal guide tonight." "Indeed," Lu Fei frowned. "Is there no other way?" The physician sighed. "There is no other way." A long silence ensued. "Then use my blood." I extended my hand. Lu Fei and the doctor were both stunned. They probably hadn't expected me to be so proactive. There weren't many maids in the mansion, and the only one of the same age as Lin Ruoan was me. It was already nighttime, and it was impossible to go outside to find a woman for the medicine. Lin Yuan wanted nothing more than my blood. If I choose not to make a scene now, it would play right into her hands. This time, the young lady fell ill because of me. Using my blood as a medicinal guide is my way of making amends. Is that acceptable? I asked Lu Fei. I had thought he would surely agree, but to my surprise, he neither said yes nor no. I took it as his agreement and picked up the small knife from the herbalist's box. Where should I take it from? Any place will do. Wait. Lu Fei suddenly grabbed my hand, arching, aren't you also a medical woman? Go and examine her. Maybe there's another way. So, he still remembered that I was a medical woman. Previously, when Lin Yuan fell ill once and the physician couldn't make it in time, I had also examined her once. In truth, her health was excellent, but when I told Lu Fei the truth, he didn't believe me. He even suspected that I was deliberately trying to delay her treatment, and from then on, he never let me examine her again. And now, there's no need for a diagnosis at all. Just by looking, it's clear, Lin Yuan's complexion was rosy. And her breathing was steady, showing no signs of fainting. I stood up, walked over, and reached out to take her pulse. The physician was so nervous that beads of sweat covered his forehead. Indeed, as physician Zhong described, I said softly, withdrawing my hand. The person on the bed visibly trembled slightly. It's truly this serious after all. Lu Fei sighed softly. Can I go back and take the blood myself? I asked Lu Fei. I'll use my own knife to take it, which will hurt a bit more. All right, master. Aunt Zhong suddenly grabbed the hem of my skirt with all her strength, kneeling on the ground. Since the blood must come from someone of the same age, why not take it here? If other blood is mixed in, Mrs. Life cannot be delayed. Her implication was that she feared I would return with blood from someone else to replace it. Don't worry, Aunt Zhong, I replied before Lu Fei could speak. I'll get the knife and take the blood right here. I returned to my room and took out the poisoned wine I had prepared earlier, smearing it onto the 7-star dagger. When I arrived at Lin Ruoan's room again, the air was eerily silent. Calmly, I was about to roll up my sleeves when Lu Fei suddenly pulled me into his embrace. Lean on me, a little. I did not refuse. Thank you, Lord Xie. His expression grew complicated once more. Perhaps because I had always argued my case before, he was now unaccustomed to my acquiescence. As he rolled up his sleeve, a bruise on his wrist was revealed. What is this? Lu Fei was stunned. How did your wrist get injured like this? I paused for a moment. There are many physically demanding tasks at the brothel. I got injured before, but it's nothing serious now. Didn't I tell you to only do light work? Lu Fei's eyes were blazing. Madam Zhong, what's going on? This was the first time since Lin Yuan came to the Lu residence that Lu Fei had gotten angry on my behalf. Zhong Memar stammered for a moment, then quickly said, Master, it must be that Chen Memar who secretly made Miss Song work. I clearly followed your instructions, repeatedly reminding her. Tomorrow, I will go and settle accounts with her. She dares to act one way while agreeing to another, even with someone from my Lu household. He raged. Bring her here tomorrow for questioning. No need. Lu Fei looked at me. Why no need? Did those courtesans bully you? I shook my head, and with a whoosh, the knife plunged into my arm. When I pulled it out, blood splattered all over Lu Fei's face. He froze in an instant. I wonder if he remembered, back then. To save him, I was so afraid his scent of blood would attract those bandits that I had no hesitation in driving the knife into my own arm, just to help him divert those people. After drinking my blood, it said that Lin Yuan woke up in the middle of the night. The next day, she had Mrs. Zhong deliver Snowball's body. The young mistress said that since Miss Song has already used her blood for treatment, she should also give something in return. The beast that damaged the calligraphy, paintings, and jade vase has been dealt with. The young lady of the family said that she must have me personally deliver the corpse of this beast to Miss Song. I looked at Xueqiu. Covered in blood, the nails beneath my sleeve had already left marks on my palm. After burying Xueqiu, I took out the 7-star dagger again. After contemplating it for a long time, I prepared a second bowl of detoxification soup for myself. I drank last night, and today I drink again. For even greater certainty, I wonder if my parents would be disappointed to know that I now use the method of saving lives to harm others, even using my own blood as poison. But when Sister Ruu of the Drunken Flower Pavilion handed me the knife, she told me that to survive, I must become a blade that lives only for itself. Another day passed, and Lu Fei sent someone to deliver several paintings and calligraphy scrolls. The officer said these are masterpieces by renowned artists of our dynasty, priceless treasures. If the young lady likes them, she can keep them to admire and enjoy. This was likely his way of rewarding me for being sensible. In the evening, he came to my room, but none of the paintings were unrolled. "Don't like it?" he asked. "No, I like everything you give me, my lord," I said calmly. But since Song Qing was born in the countryside, she doesn't understand the art of appreciating famous paintings. These paintings would be better suited for our Yuan sister. A flicker of inexplicable emotion passed through Lu Fei's eyes. After all, in the past, no matter what he gave me, whether it was calligraphy, paintings, jewelry, or even a piece of embroidery, as long as Lin Yuan threw a tantrum, he would take it away from me and give it to her. "This is something I specifically sought out for you," he emphasized. "Thank you, my lord." I stood up. "Would you like some tea, my lord?" He frowned. "You injured your arm just last night, and there isn't a single servant in your room. How does Mrs. Zhong do her job?" I shook my head. "Master, it's because I don't want it myself." He was stunned. "Why?" "Because all the servants who were close to me before have already been sent away from the estate by Madame Zhong and Lin Yuan. Now, everyone in the estate is under their control. I was used to working alone back in Song Village, too." The hand pouring the tea trembled slightly, and the scalding hot water splashed onto my fingers. I gasped in surprise, and the teacup fell to the ground. "Let me see." Lu Fei suddenly stood up, grabbing my fingers and blowing on them. "See. How can you manage without servants?" I silently watched him blow on my fingers. He looked as if he truly cared about me. Once upon a time, in Song Village, I boiled medicine for him, and the broth splashed onto my face. He sprang up from his sickbed just like that, disregarding the propriety between men and women, and cupped my face to see if I was all right. I wonder if back then, he genuinely cared for me, or if he was afraid that the scar would mar the face that resembled Lin Ruoan's so closely. "You have medicinal herbs for external wounds in your garden. Hurry and have someone go." He suddenly stopped mid-sentence. "Yes. What medicinal herbs are left?" Just because Lin Yuan mentioned that seeing medicinal herbs would remind her of the bitterness of medicine, he uprooted all the medicinal herbs in my courtyard and planted beautiful flowers instead, all just to make her happy. "It's fine." I calmly withdrew my hand. "But if you insist, could I go by a maidservant?" Lu Fei looked at his empty hands. "You don't need to go yourself. Have Aunt Zhong pick out a few for you. This is the daughter of my parents' old friend. She's now in the hands of a human trafficker, and I only want to redeem her." Perhaps thinking of my parents, Lu Fei agreed. The next day, I went to the Drunken Flower Pavilion and redeemed Xiao Jiao, Sister Rua's daughter. When Madame Chen saw it was me, she was a bit surprised. "Miss Song, have you been here for a few months and developed a sense of pity? But there are so many girls here. Can you really redeem them all?" She chuckled, as if laughing at my foolishness. Just as I was about to leave with Xiao Jiao, the top courtesan of Zuehua Lu, Luo Chu, suddenly rushed over. "A Qing, come quickly. Man Niang seems to be on the verge of collapse." My heart tightened, and I quickly followed her. In the warm chamber, Man Niang lay on the bed, her body covered in bruises and her face pale. How could she be injured so severely? "Where is the medicine I left for her?" Luo Chu cried. "A few days ago, a new girl arrived, sold by her family and unwilling to serve guests. She was beaten to within an inch of her life. Man Niang used all the medicine you left her to save that girl." "Who knew that last night?" Liu Yucai came again, and Chen Mema wanted the new girl to go. Man Niang volunteered to take her place, and then I know that Liu Yucai, he's a sadist, and the girls at the Drunken Flower Pavilion are all terrified of him. When I was at the Drunken Flower Pavilion, one night he got drunk and specifically asked for a new girl. Perhaps Lu Fei truly intended for me to only do menial tasks, but it was clear that Madame Zhong and Lin Yuan had other intentions. Chen Memar took Lin Yuan's silver but was unsure how to find a way to ruin my chastity without angering the Lu family. Just then, Liu Yucai happened to arrive, so she drugged me, intending to send me to Liu Yucai. That way, she could claim I had drunk too much and acted on my own initiative. This would avoid offending the Lu family, satisfy Lin Yuan, and perhaps even use the Lu family's hand to eliminate the trouble of Liu Yucai. That night, it was the girls from the Drunken Flower Pavilion who knocked me out and saved me. This wasn't the first time Chen Memar had plotted against me. Nor was it the first time they had saved me. After I woke up, they told me that Sister Yu had taken my place, but Yu was already ill, and after Liu Yu realized she wasn't the new recruit, he beat her even more brutally, as if he had gone mad. That night, when I rushed to Yu's room, she lay on the bed, her entire body battered and bruised. "Sister, why did you take my place?" I wept uncontrollably. "Silly Qing," she stroked my head. "My illness was never going to last much longer. You know that. Hold on, I'll go get you the medicine." I wiped away my tears and was about to leave, but she grabbed me. "Don't go." She struggled to speak. "Qing, I can't make it. I know it myself. I should have died 3 months ago." Back then, I lay in bed, and no matter how hard Luo Chu and the others tried, they couldn't find a doctor for me. They all looked down on us, thought we were filthy, and refused to treat us. Only you had just been beaten, yet you endured the pain to treat me, allowing me to live for 3 more months. "Qing, going to serve that beast was my own choice," she said, trembling as she pulled out the 7-star dagger and placed it in my hand. I wanted to kill him, but he broke my left hand. "I truly am useless. Don't say any more, just hold on a little longer. I'll go prepare the medicine for you." She shook her head, her gaze falling on the dagger. When he left back then, he handed me the knife and told me to wait for him to return, to redeem me, but he abandoned me and died just like that. So irresponsible. She smiled faintly, her eyes gradually growing vacant. "I really miss him. I've long wanted to reunite with him, but I can't bear to leave my children behind. What would happen to Xiao Zhao and Dong Bai if I died?" Tears welled up in her eyes. In this Drunken Flower Pavilion, women will eventually become playthings, and men aren't much better off either. In the end, they either become enforcers or help those wicked men torment women. I don't want them to end up like that. Qing, if you can leave here, and if, in the future, it's possible, will you help Xiao Zhao and Dong Bai? "Okay," I replied, tears streaming uncontrollably down my face. "And, he once told me that if you want to survive, you have to turn yourself into a blade that lives for itself." She raised her right hand, gently stroking my hair. "Don't be foolish anymore." Her hand slowly slid down, and with her eyes closed, she looked as if she had fallen asleep. Everything that happened that day is still fresh in my mind. And now, it's Man Niang's turn. Fortunately, Man Niang's constitution is a bit stronger than Yu's. Luo Chu rushed to fetch the medicine with my prescription. And with everyone working together to prepare and apply the medicine, they barely managed to save Man Niang's life. Ruya is gone, and Auntie Chen has already set her sights on Xiao Zhao. It's such a relief that you could take her away. Luo Chu wiped her tears. "Don't worry," I hugged her. "One day, I will take all of you away." Returning to the Lu residence with Xiao Zhao, it was already late at night. Unexpectedly, Lu Fei and Lin Yuan were both waiting at the door of my room, seeing me. Lin Yuan's face showed a hint of triumph. "Sister Qing, you've been gone for so long without returning. I was worried, so I sent someone to look for you, but I never expected to find you at the Drunken Flower Pavilion with those courtesans." She covered her wide-open mouth with a handkerchief. "Sister, Could it be that you've spent 3 months at the Drunken Flower Pavilion and grown fond of the place? I looked at Lu Fei. His expression was unclear in the dim light of the night. I went to the Drunken Flower Pavilion. I went to redeem Xiao Jiao, as you promised me yesterday. Lu Fei, you never mentioned that you were buying a maid from the Drunken Flower Pavilion. Yes, last night I had my concerns and didn't tell you the truth, but today I thought, even if Anna also came from the Drunken Flower Pavilion, didn't you still bring her back to the mansion and take good care of her? You sent me there to experience the pain that Yuan's sister went through. Now that I feel it myself, I want to save people from their suffering just as you do. Moreover, since Xiao Jiao is still innocent, becoming a maidservant in the Lu household, I'm sure you wouldn't object to that. Lu Fei paused for a moment, then gradually relaxed his brow. So that's what you were thinking. He stepped closer. It's good that you can empathize with Yuan like this. Since she is innocent, let her stay. Lin Yuan's expression immediately turned sour. But sister, buying a maidservant took quite a long time. If someone with ill intentions were to find out, they might think sister has found a lover at the Drunken Flower Pavilion. Who said I was at the Drunken Flower Pavilion the whole time? I looked up. I went to the market to buy things. I carefully took out the blood swallow. Previously, when Yuan's illness flared up, it was often because of me. After leaving the Drunken Flower Pavilion, I heard someone was selling blood swallow nests. So I used the remaining silver to buy some, hoping to stew it for Yuan to nourish her body. I don't want it. Unexpectedly, Lin Yuan knocked the blood swallow nests to the ground. Blood swallow nests are very precious. I tried to reason with her, but she interrupted me again. You were clearly at the Drunken Flower Pavilion, so why lie and say you went to buy blood swallow nests? And who needs your fake kindness, brother-in-law? She's lying. She was at the Drunken Flower Pavilion the whole time. I didn't argue further. Cousin, you can ask Auntie Chen. She's right there. Lin Yuan. She froze, probably not expecting Lu Fei to shout at her. In the middle of the night, haven't you made enough of a scene yet? Xiao Jiao knelt down with a thud. Your Excellency, please be fair. My lady has already suffered many injuries at the Zuehua Pavilion. Today, I urged her for a long time to eat the blood swallow herself, but she refused, saying that the young lady from her maternal family is not well, and she wanted to bring it back for her. Injuries? Lu Fei frowned. What injuries? Isn't it just the one on her wrist? How could it be just one place? Of course, there are all kinds of injuries. As a servant like us, we're not as delicate as the young ladies. We have to do all the dirty and tiring work, and if we don't do it well, we get beaten. Sister Arching was beaten several times by Madame Chen as soon as she arrived. If it weren't for her knowing medicine, her legs would have been crippled long ago. Xiao Jiao, stop talking, I said painfully, closing my eyes. Please, stop talking. Lu Fei froze. Is everything she said true? He suddenly stepped forward and picked me